once again. Mm-hmm. So straight away, hello to everybody who is watching the VOD. It is going to be a pretty interesting stream, as I also wait for everything to load in. Oh yeah, I need to mute this thing. Oh no, it's not in videos anymore. YouTube has changed it, so we've got videos, shorts, and live. That's better. Right, okay, that needs to be updated. Well, it will be updated because it's fine. If I go to edit, Oh, I definitely don't miss doing this long ass sodding process if I want to get the whole thing together. That one. Come on, thing. There we go. Copy. Paste. Check. Monetization. On. Check. That should be good. Alright, if I come out of there, do that. Let me refresh that first to make sure that's actually proper. Because the thumbnail should now be... No, the thumbnail's not gonna... it's... Yeah. I don't know why it's doing that. That's a bit stupid. That's fine though. Right. Copy, paste over to the Discord server. And how do I do this again? So at everyone. Live now. 2-hour special. And end of year special. Yeah, let's put that in there because why not? And we have 224 people in the Discord server. Pretty good. That's a couple of things to talk about as well. So I don't need that one, don't need that one, don't need that one. Well, at least the thumbnail appears in the Discord servers, that's fine. Oh, here we go then. Just wait for everyone to appear. Hopefully the ping will do some good with this stream. And yeah, we'll kick things off in just a moment. Definitely, don't think I've worn the red shirt in a while. It's a bit a bit weird because I think, well, at least for a good while, I was wearing my LUKR. Where is it to behind me? But it's on the end of the bed. My LUKR green fleece. So for me to wear just a different color, maybe it's just because it's the sort of earlier in the day for me. You know, it's 3 p.m., 3 in the afternoon for me, and well, bad example to be honest, because today it's actually really dark. I've got the lights on to try and make it a bit more vibrant in here, and yeah, the idea is to have hopefully some more people tune in for the stream because I'm doing this at a different time of day. It'd be very good to see who else is available compared to the regular cast of characters that make it to the live streams whilst I'm doing it in the evening. And we are going to be streaming for 2 hours today because why not? I'm not really doing anything today, so why only stream for 1 hour? Let's do it for 2. I'm around for longer, more chatting, lovely fun. Okay. I'll leave that there, that's fine. I'm going to say this a couple of times in the live stream as well. I want to quickly apologize in advance. I've got a bit of a headache. My nose is really stuffy. I've got a fresh roll of tissues on standby, so if you see me wiping my nose, I do greatly apologize. It's not the most pleasant looking thing ever, but I've gone through a bit of tissue today already, and it is not that good. No. We are kind of getting through the winter months anyway. Not too long until spring, only a couple more months. We can live through that. Just make sure I've got all my other bits over here sorted. That's something I need to figure out as well. Yeah. So just whilst there's more people coming, I'm going to quickly check a couple of notes I've got for other details here. So that's all right. That's fine there. That's fine there. That's fine there. That's going to keep on going. That's cool. To build list. That's something to talk about. Sure. Plenty of videos. Yeah. Something going on. Podcast episode, check. And the set thing. Oh, that is pointless at this point. And that's pretty much it. What do I call this video though? Oh, that's actually not bad. That's notification with something else. Okay, right. So technically, we are now 6 minutes into the stream. We're about to ding 6 minutes, and we're only 2 minutes past 3. Always good to start early to get the whole thing prepared in case everybody was there for it. And straight away, I need to use tissue. I do apologise. Again, it's gonna be very common occurrence today. I'll try and cover it up as best as I can. Definitely not pleasant at all. I'm so sorry. I know, but it's gonna be a bit unavoidable. Oh, right then, we have a fair whack to go over. I suppose this is kind of preparation and a bit of a showcase for what's going to be happening in the new year. So I do have a list of things on the Word documents here of ideas, both on my Lego Train to Build list, video ideas, podcast details, and a bunch of things behind me to show off, which is going to be very fun. So I think we should start off with what's actually on the Word document here. Is there anything on this bit? No, that's fine. Where was I? Here we go. Lego Train to Build list. Okay. So I currently have 6 models on my to build list, all of which are Thomas characters. So the fun thing about this is these should all be pretty easy to make, but the problem is I can't really be bothered to make them at the moment because, well, at the moment there's still a lot of Christmas things to put away. I want to wait for the situation at the house to kind of calm down as a whole. Then I can move on to making these. And I need to update that too. There we go, we'll just put that in there. We'll add that on later on. So yes, I am looking forward to making some more Thomas characters because I am more of a Sodor fan than I am a real train fan. I've got pretty much all the real stuff I'll want and need. I've got plenty of rolling stock still, but in terms of locomotives that I want, I still focus more towards building Sodor characters because I like that more. And for the club, I'm definitely more the Sodor representative, so it's a bit of a balance, so to say. So on my list is Daisy, there's Fergus, Arthur, Stanley, Harvey, and Mavis. All 6 of these models seem fairly easy for me to do. Daisy in particular seems like the most likely model to make next of this list. Also on this list was Busy Bee James, Green Thomas, and Hero, so that was quite funky to kind of go through 3 of those models already. Daisy, I'm going to be using my power up train motor from the 2018 City train sets for that. Fergus should be nice and easy. Arthur, I've had a couple of ideas for already. Stanley was an easy one to do because, well, it's a nice different livery engine. That's why I'm really appealed. I find a lot of appeal in Stanley. Harvey is definitely going to be an interesting one to make, and Mavis just seems like a good challenge. I don't have that many diesels. I've got Devious Diesel himself. I've got what's the other diesel I've got? Salty, that's it. And Mavis will be a good addition to the sort of diesel side of my Sodor fleet. That's going to be pretty cool. My only concern was wheels. All of the wheels and the motor stuff that I would need for these engines I already have, so that saves me having to buy more wheels because I don't want to spend any more money. I've gone through hell as it is for the past few months with that. But so yeah, currently there are 6 actual engines on the to build list. In terms of other Lego things, of course, I have the layout. I've mentioned this. I feel like I've mentioned this dozens of times. My new TLR layouts, the Triton Lego Railway, will finally have, in the coming months, a full home setup. Nothing as big as I've made previously, like the full-on display that you've seen at like a couple of shows. The LUKR member meets, of course, Bristol Brick Show, which was just over a month ago, and the Galleries Brick Show, which was about a year and a half ago. That full-size layout, that's not a thing anymore. I'm going to be working, well, technically I have already made a start on that layout because it now has 3 running lines, which is very exciting. As time goes on, well, yeah, as time goes on, I do have plans for expansion, but I'm not going to know how I'm going to make these expansions and additions work until the layout is kind of set in stone, kind of, in place properly. The issue is I would love to have an elevated running line, but I don't know how I'm going to pull that off until the layout is in a much more permanent state. Pardon me. So the issue I have is I've got ideas, but the execution of them may not happen at all. Or if it does happen for some of those ideas, then it could be maybe in a few more years. This is one of those other scenarios where I still need to move out and get my own place, hopefully, so I can actually make this work. The only problem is living in the UK is still quite difficult. Something financial crisis. What's it called? The cost of living crisis. That's what it's called. Yeah, not the most fun thing ever. But politics aside, it's we're trying. I'm trying. Slowly but surely. That's the only thing I can really do. So yeah, that's basically everything with the layout. I am going to be trying to, well, maybe not do live streams of me building the layout. I would like to try and capture some footage, or at least take some pictures of me building the layout of it in progress as this new version comes together. One thing I still need to do though is get a new series of tables in place in the room where it's going to go. The room again still needs cleaning and organizing, but that's something to be done in the next couple of weeks. And once the tables are in, I can get an understanding of the measurements and just kind of go from there. It's not going to be the biggest thing ever, but at the same time, I'm very content with the fact that it's going to be this sort of size. It's the kind of the way I picture it. It's going to be the 4 table size that I do at some shows. Brick Express is coming up in June. It's going to be my 3rd Brick Express, which is going to be very exciting because Lego train layout at a railway is going to be very cool. And that size of layout is basically what I'm going to have at home. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of understand now that I've got that space in a more regular state. If I can make these segments fit tables, got 7x3 base plates to work with. It's not going to work with what I have in mind for the home layout, but if I can make other segments or even just standard base plates with tracks for the sake of the tables that shows, then that'd be a really cool thing to make as well. I'll have to work on that in due time, but yeah, that's definitely going to be on the list. I probably should write that down as well. Where is my layout? Where is it? It's this one, that's it. Separate. Separate long. Hang on. Separate long by 3. Stretch. Bloody hell, my spelling for Lego shows. Something simple just to make it work. But yeah, that should be good. All right, that's a good note to have there. Right, let's get rid of that. Let's move that to somewhere else. If I just put that in there, to be honest, just to make it easy. All right, cool. Okay then, so that's basically my Lego train to build list. It is a bit small, again, in terms of locomotives. The priority for this year, at least for the first few months of the year, will be the layout, of course, but that will kind of happen in its own time. It's a bit outside of my control. But then again, it's something that will progress, and I'm really looking forward to that. So that's that. Next thing we can go on is let's go through my upload schedule because I have a lot of video ideas in mind for this. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So my video schedule currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 videos on the list. And I can currently do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Technically 10, technically 11. So 9 comfortably, but 11 videos written down at the moment. A lot of these are Nerf videos. I'm very excited to get on and do Nerf videos again because I'm still in the Nerf hobby. I'm still keeping up with a lot of stuff. And when it comes to content, it's very slow because I've done pretty much all the videos I could really think of doing, any of the good and viable ones at least. There are some old videos I would love to redo, but the issue is those old videos kind of are of their time. So I can't really. So, for example, I've done Nerf Blaster reviews, which is very fun. I've got loads more to do in the future. I've got 3 of them written down that I could do. That I can record. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I can record these videos tomorrow, ideally. Obviously not today because current time and event. I'm streaming. Obviously, I can't really focus on that. I need to be careful as well because it's winter and well, like today for example, it's really dark, really rainy. So if I try and get the lighting as I want it, it's going to be a bit difficult. I have to try and get it in the middle of the day, make sure there's no interruptions. I've got a very small period of time in the day to actually, or ideally, record these videos. So 3 of these are reviews, 3 of these are combos videos, but these ones are remastered. So going back to what I said a moment ago, I really want to try and basically remaster, that's the word, some old videos. But it's not so much like redoing them, it's kind of how I see it. But this is what I was trying to say a moment ago too, where uh, a lot of the old Nerf videos that I've done are kind of their time. Like me redoing some of them could work, but at the same time, there are lots of videos that just who would care really? So if I try and get all of the Nerf playlists together, combos versus mods, attachments, there it is. Okay, so having a look at what we've got here. So I've got 6 Nerf video playlists, a generic collection news and discussion video, one dedicated to blaster reviews, and there are 48 videos in this playlist. 48 blaster reviews. I did not think I would have that many in this collection, to be honest. That's actually really. I've got more than 50 because there's a couple of blasters I still got in box. They're for the sake of keeping them as collectibles. Mainly the X Shots Gold Royale series because they're really cool, and I think well, not so much that they'll go up in value, but it's just a gold blaster mint in box. That's just a nice thing to have. That's all that really is. There are a couple of these videos that kind of show their age, but at the same time, this is me getting back into the hobby from mid 2019. So none of these reviews are going to be redone. That's not what I'm on about. I've also got Nerf combos, which is very fun, and I have currently 31 videos in the playlist. That's pretty good, to be honest. Not every blaster I've bought has combo potential, but those that do, it's so much fun to do a combos video. It really is. So this is one of the few things I want to talk about in terms of remastering things. I've got an attachments playlist as well, because my favorite aspect of the Nerf hobby is attachments. Specifically with Nerf brand blasters, there's attachments at the wazoo. But the issue is, I would love to try and redo these again, but well, I watched a couple of these, and the format was basically the same. This was again about 2019, 2020 or so, where it was me holding the camera, the items were in front of me, mainly on the floor, and it was just one take. There was no level of professionalism there. And it would be cool to talk about them, but again, it's something of its time, and it's the thing that nobody would really care about. So this is one of the things that I don't know why I'm tempted to do this. It's fun to talk about, obviously, like with Nerf blasters for this example, and with Lego trains because of the BRB podcast. It's fun to talk about hobby stuff, even if it's just to a camera or to an audience that you know is going to enjoy this, or even when you're talking with someone, which is again the podcast. But this is something that at least I'm happy that I did these. There's no way these would work again today. But yeah, it's just something worth, making known. The Nerf Versus series, which is very funky. I need to come up with a couple more Versus episodes because these were really cool to do. I think I've got one. Where is it? Combos, reviews. Oh, I think I had an idea for one, but it's been scrapped. Yeah, that makes sense. So in terms of verses, I don't really know what I could do for an episode of verses because there are some that really make sense. Basically, all the ones that are in the playlist. So it's just this blaster versus this blaster, and that's so there's 10 videos in the playlist. So there's one, well, technically two. Oh, pardon me. 3, 4, 5, 6, and again technically 7. So 7 out of the 10 videos in the playlist are about comparing blasters. 2 of them are on attachments, and one about stick mags versus drum mags, which was just a fun thing, anyways. But it's just taking in the blasters that I've got. How could I? I don't have to buy another dedicated blaster for the sake of doing a video. I buy the blasters I want to do videos on. Well, and I worded that incorrectly. The blasters I buy are blasters I end up doing videos on, but the blasters I buy are the ones that I actually want to have in the first place. I haven't gone out of my way to get the Supertex 9500 for the sake of doing a video. I've bought them because I recognize what they are. I think if I could have one of those, that would be an excellent thing to have amongst my arsenal. That would be a really cool thing to have. It would be really fun. It's something I'm definitely going to treasure, and so forth. The fact that I'm doing content on Nerf blasters and this side of the hobby is just a bonus. It's an opportunity I've got because of the YouTube channel as well. It's really fun to do this because you're essentially taking part in the hobby. It's something really fun to do. So in terms of the versus videos, I'm not too sure what else I could do because I haven't done one of these in a long time. When was the last one? About July. Well, last updated on July 3rd, 2022. So 5 months, nearly half a year. But even then, that goes out of the way to say, what could really go further with this series? It's really difficult to expand in terms of content and what you could do with. See, I'm not wording this right either. You know what I'm trying to say though? That I want to do more, but I can't do much else more because everything I could do, I've already done, and it's just really weird there. This is a duck. Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. Good to see you. We are 20 minutes into the stream, so don't worry, we've got loads more stream to go. And you are the first person to comment in chat. I can't stay for long because I have work to do. Well, fair enough. I'm lucky in the sense that I've got today off. So today and tomorrow and Monday, I've got off work. It's like a 3-day weekend. It's the best thing ever. And that's why I'm doing a stream. So yeah, again, 2-hour stream. So if you finish your work and you've got a bit of time before 5 o'clock, I'll still be here. So yeah, just to let you know. And my final Nerf playlist is about mods and modifications. I am a very light Nerf modder. I've done a couple of custom things, and that's pretty much it. Again, the most extensive mod I've ever done was the Shell Strike Master Key, and that was a lot of fun to do because the final product is just so cool. I've got an idea, just looking back at my video upload list, and there is something that I'm way late on this, but at the same time, when it comes back to the summer months, this will be an easy thing for me to do. So back in the summer, there's a store that's near me that I've mentioned a couple of times that sell a bunch of garden toys, and one of them was this. I'm trying to remember how specifically it worked, but it was basically one of those rocket, like foam rocket on a tube and a small pump to like a, or hose rather, to like a foot pump, and it would fly in the air. I think it was a foot pump. That's what I'm just trying to remember, because I reckon I could take that, craft a blaster shell, have something to sit on my shoulders. If it is a foot pump, I can have the pipe go all the way down to the bottom, or to the floor rather. Stamp on the pump to fire the rocket, and that should be pretty fun. I don't remember. Should I just look at it now? Let me see if I can find that item. because I want to get this right. This will actually help prepare me for when I make the modification. I used to have something similar to that, but you had to stamp on a foot pump to launch a rocket. That's what I think it is. It didn't work with your hands, yeah. It was just like something you stamp on. That's all it was. But if that is what I think it is, then excellent, because I can use that as a way of, again, the launcher will be facing sideways, so the actual hole that the rocket would sit on will be about coming out here. And to use my ever loved drink as an example, so let's say this is the rocket, it would sit on there. I've got the blaster kind of crafted here. The pipe or the hose will kind of come out of the base unit, go down to the floor to where the foot pump is, and will stamp on the foot pump to fire the rocket. That's what I have in mind. I'm just trying to think. I want to find the item again. Not the most exciting thing ever, but I want to see if it's here, because again, the store that it's sold at is what it sells it as a seasonal thing. Let me try. Try a different word. Since when did you have one of them? Okay. What'd you call it? When did you have these? Union Pacific Fan 4014. Hello, good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in for as long as you have. Bristol. No, that's not what I need. Garden Rocket Toy. Right, that's what it is. Okay. It comes with 2 rockets. Oh, that's good. Right, that's what I need. Air rocket. Oh, you... oh, okay, fine. Right, okay, I found what it is, but it's not on the website because again, it is a seasonal thing. Right. So that's definitely a foot stomp air pump thing, but the hose is tiny. Oh god. Hmm. That's not quite what I had in mind. It's a little bit. I'll have to look around. I wonder if there's other miscellaneous toy shops around that would just sell some. Oh, they really could, you know. Because it isn't just this one place that would sell it. There'd be loads of places that could sell such a thing. Oh man. Tell you what, let me hang on. Sorry, we're a bit deep into this. There's another store I want to check. If I oh, there's 2 stores I can actually check. Let me do that right now. I have British weather at its best here, and by which I mean rain and cloud. Yep, it's the same here. It's very dark today, Duck. It's very dark. I've got the main lights on, of course. And it's not the best thing ever. Just how long is the pipe? That's what I want to know. If I knew this, this is the thing. I was at a store, at this particular store I'm looking at now, Smith's. I was at one of these stores recently to get another Nerf blaster. It was on the 27th. Like, foolish me for thinking, you know, nobody else is going to be there. But if I knew to get this there, I could have. Ah, damn it! I could have actually gotten it whilst I was there. Next to nobody's going to be open tomorrow, so I'm not going up tomorrow. Monday I might be able to. It would save having to wait until summer for a particular one. Well, that's rubbish. And that's the only one that seems to be in Smiths. That's a bit of a bugger. But not what I thought. I suppose it could be worse. I just want to make sure that I want to make sure I can expand the hose. That's all it is. I don't mind buying a second one for the sake of getting more rockets, but if so long as I can attach the two hoses together, I'm golden. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that. All right, that's not impossible. It's only £10 as well, so that's excellent. It's just that hose. Yeah, that hose is pathetically tiny. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I could just go to B&Q and buy a rubber hose or something like that. Not impossible. Right then. I will put that on the list of things to keep an eye out on. So where were we? Let me catch up with chat because I can see chat going. Tonks Train 17, hello, good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. UP fan says, for me it's dark grey clouds and there is no snow where I am, but mountains have it. Fair enough. I'm getting some red Lego steam train wheels in about a week. You've ordered some online, I'm guessing. Very cool. That's all the chat brought up with. Lovely. So back to what we were talking about originally before that massive tangent. Insult to injury. Hello, good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Oh boy, the end of year stream. Oh yes, and that's something to talk about as well. Thank you for reminding me because that was a thing I wanted to mention a moment ago as well. I can feel a sneeze coming on. My eyes are my eyes are watering. Probably happen in a couple of minutes. Right then. So back to what we were talking about a moment ago with all the Nerf stuff. The only videos I could really remaster. Yeah, we were talking about that. To anybody who's just tuned in, we were talking about Nerf videos and what I could potentially do remasters of because I would love to do more Nerf content, but there's only so much I can viably do. New series ideas is actually quite difficult, and there are some old videos I've done, if anything, in the combo series that I could definitely redo. So I'm going to be remastering the combos for the Rapid Strike, the Modulus ECS-10, and the Strife, because those ones are fairly old, and since then I've got loads more attachments, so there's definitely more potential for gimmick combos and updating the three main ones. Maybe even my personal combo thanks to a couple of custom things I've made. But yeah, that is where that is going. My my nose feels awful. Also, when it comes to Nerf content, I am going to be doing a small, well, in my mind, this video is going to be about 10 minutes long, but I've been writing out a script just complaining about the Nerf brand and how I see it inevitably dooming itself to something that nobody will care about. And in turn, I think it will drag down the hobby as a whole, but I'll save all of that for the video itself because I'm still writing the scripts for it. It's, yeah, it's its own thing, but I'll leave that to happen when it happens. Right, if I get rid of that one, I can get rid of that one. UB fan says, also, have you seen or heard of the ATSF gold bonnet locomotive? I might make that in Lego, and I have gold model paint. Oh, be careful with painting bricks, just so long as you're sure. But I have not heard of it. Let's have a look right now. Oh, I see. Ah, just diesel. I mean, if you're going to paint bricks, be very careful. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, if you do it, it's your choice. But you've only got yourself to blame if it goes wrong. That's just, I've painted train wheels countless times. So there's been times where I've after the painting I think, oh, something's gone a bit wrong, you know, this, that, or I don't want it to be a painted piece and what actually need that piece. And yeah, it's not that like you got to make sure that you're going to use these bricks for this model only. If you modify and expand it to make it better in the future, that's one thing. But if you want to take it apart to use the gold pieces for something else, that's where the trouble comes in. So you saying you've got gold paint, well, again, you know, not impossible, but yeah, good luck. I think that's all I can really say. I've mentioned painting bricks a couple of times in the past. Do it at your own risk. It is literally one of those do it at your own risk things. Not something to be normalized, but it's your choice because it's ultimately going to be your model, your bricks, etc. Insult Injury says, we've had inches of snow here for days. Now it's melting and gross. Yeah, like that grey, sludgy, melting snow. It's not the nicest thing ever. Tongue Strain says, if you wanted to, if you wanted to, which Choo Choo Charles locomotive, if you wanted to which Choo Choo Charles locomotive would you build first? The comma is in the wrong place. That's why I'm misreading it. But I think, well, there's only two. The red engine that is used as the shell for Charles, and the yellow tank engine that you drive around in. It would be interesting to make both. It's not something I've really thought about doing though. I might try them in the future for the sake of just doing them, but I don't think it'll be really that interesting. I don't know. There'll definitely be a number of people that will recognize the. Definitely, they will recognize Charles, but the yellow engine, I don't think anybody really care about. I think if I made my own version of Choo Choo Charles, then yeah, I think that I would do. Duck says, I'm gonna head out, might be able to join later. Got to do some math revision. Oh boy. Well, Duck, thank you very much for tuning in for as long as you have. Like I said earlier, and in the notification, this is a 2-hour stream. I will be here until 5 o'clock, so I'm half an hour in. I've got 1.5 hours of streaming to do still. So if you're able to come back later, that'd be excellent. But all the same, thank you very much for tuning in for as long as you have. That's Niagara Guy. Hello, good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stand by, everyone. That's the second nose issue of the day. Ugh. Ugh. There we go. And James, you're here. Hello, James. Thank you very much for tuning in as well. So, yeah. Oh, lordy lord. I don't know about any of you, but whenever you have like a bit of a headache and your eyes a bit swollen or something, you stubbed your toe, you hurt your hand, you kind of go through that. But whenever you get a blocked nose, you think, oh, it's just a blocked nose. But god damn, having a blocked nose is the sodding worst. It was it was difficult to breathe last night while I was sleeping because I kept on. I don't know if anybody else ever feels this, but when you get a bit of a blocked nose like I've got now, you kind of, breathing loudly. It kind of sounds like it sounds really stuffy and horrible. But when you're lying down, you can feel the nostril that's higher up just slowly clearing, and all that blockage is going down to that lower nostril. It's really weird, but at the same time, it's like a saving grace to make sure that you can actually breathe in the night. Uh, sorry. Not the most glamorous thing ever. Yeah, my nose has betrayed me. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to going through that entire roll of of tissues. Let's fix things up, shall we, with some of the good stuff. Right, let's have a catch up with chat because we've got quite a lot of people here. So UP fan says use spray paint and blue tape. Well, yeah, spray. If you're gonna paint parts, spray paint is the best thing for it. Unless you're trying to get something specific, like if you're gonna use hand paint, you need to know exactly what you're doing. A couple of emojis, as a couple of guys have fun in the chat. That's lovely to see. Tonks Trains just asking, do you plan to build 1338 in Lego? What is 30? Oh, that's Trojan, isn't it? GWR 1338. Yeah, tiny little Didcot Railway. This thing. No, sadly, it's not something that's on my to build list, and it kind of never has been. It's a cute little tank engine. I remember seeing someone online who has made one, but I don't remember who it was. It was either Owen Metcher or I think maybe it was Owen. It might even been Sam, British Bricks. I can't. It's been forever. Oh, hang on, here we go. Yep, that's an Owen model. Okay, yeah. So it was Owen Metcher that's made one, and it looks amazing. But I don't really have. Oh, Lego Railway Series just made one too. Oh, that's really cool. But yeah, this is one of those models that I personally don't really have that much interest in. hard to say. It's not to say that it's a kind of bad or uninteresting model. It's just not for me. That's what it really is. Not putting again. God, I'm falling apart. Uh, anyway, so yeah, 1338, not quite my style. I kind of focus towards more bigger, tender engines. So yeah, that's pretty much the main reason why. Good news, I'm waiting for a package and it just got to my city. Ooh. I had a parcel arrive today. It was not the one I was hoping for, and I can talk more about that when I show off a thing in a moment. Might I make a remake? Might I make a remake of one of my small locomotives and paint it gold? Yeah, another rewording there, but yeah, if you want to. The most important question I have to ask: thoughts on the Doctor Who trailer from the 25th? Uh, I've seen the trailer. It's near enough the same thing. Could you turn up your mic a bit quiet? Me? My mic's quiet? Well, that can't be right because this is the same level. It's never been any different. If I'm too quiet, then that's a proper problem. Um. Anyways, I don't actually know how I can fix it because again, I'm using my tablet and I can't actually. Yeah, the only other option I've got is just to mute my microphone. So, ugh, oh dear. If I am too quiet, I do apologize. But again, I've used this tablet for streaming for the entire year of doing so, and again, it is a very naff tablet, but I can't really turn myself up because the microphone is here, like on the edge of the tablet. So if you want me to be louder, I suppose I'll just have to move a bit closer. So I'll do that. Also, do take into account, I'm still a bit stuffy. Trying to talk is a bit difficult. So if I'm talking a bit quieter or a bit calmer, that's going to take into effect of me being loud or quiet. Headphones maxed out. Yeah, I don't know. You're the first person to ever say that I've been too quiet. So maybe it's something. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to say it's on your end because I can't confirm anything on your end. But for me, this has been the same thing as it always has been. But as it is what it is. Yeah. Right. Anyways, Doctor Who trailer from the 25th. It's basically, well, it's not exactly the same, but it's near enough the same thing that we saw after 13's regeneration. Was that its own thing, or was that something that was uploaded to YouTube afterwards? But I still don't. I just, it just what happened to Doctor Who? It's not. Mm, there was what's the guy's name? Harbo Holmes, I think that's his YouTube channel. Someone I've been subscribed to for a while because his videos are quite interesting when he's been talking about and kind of reviewing every Doctor Who episode. He's kind of going from series to series, and he's made some thoughts known of the new Doctor Who series. Well, not so much series, but the series of specials, I suppose, would be the way to put it. That's going to be coming out next year, and it's just not good. Honestly, the fact that he's got a good point in the sense that bringing back David Tennant as like he's now technically the 10th and the 14th Doctor, so making that decision was really mm, I can't say I like it. The fact that you're bringing back David Tennant as the Doctor properly was not a good call. A lot of people, there are still so many people that say, I want David Tennant back as the Doctor because he was the best. Yeah, cool, because he was one of the best, if not the best, at least for modern Who. There's still loads of people that love classic Who and talk about Tom Baker, but that's besides the point. It's just one of those moments where you got to accept the show has moved on from that period of time. He's not gonna. Well, the fact that he did come back as the Doctor was something that a lot of people have kind of hoped for. But this is one of those things where it should have been. He's not the Doctor anymore. You've got to accept that and move on. New Doctor, the show's evolving. It's going to carry on. If you continue to stay in this mindset and in this space where you don't want any kind of evolution for the show, you rather there was just a status quo for however long you were interested in the show and for, then it's just not going to become a good show. So yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, yeah. Well, just seeing that last comment, some interesting perspectives. That's all you need to see. Like, I get it. It's pretty much that. For me, the show ended for the show ended in the, was it 2017 Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time. I remember hearing somewhere, like some old white man saying, you get a happy end. What exactly is it? If you want a happy ending, that depends on where you end the story. It's something like that. So where you want a happy ending depends on where you end the story, and that's a really interesting saying. And for me, with Doctor Who, it was Twice Upon a Time. I loved the idea of the first Doctor met the last Doctor, and for 12 it made sense because 11 regenerating into 12 was cool because the idea was the Time Lords gave him one more regeneration. Maybe it was more regenerations, but I like to think it was just, all right, here's one more regeneration, you get to go again. And the idea of Twice Upon a Time was to kind of, the episode was what it was for the sake of saving on the recap. And yeah, it was cool. I just liked it, and that for me was the best ending. Not a lot of people will agree. Again, it was so cool just to see the first Doctor meets the last Doctor, refusing to regenerate and encouraging the first Doctor to regenerate, and it kind of just like a full circle thing. I thought that was really cool. So to answer your question about what I think about the 20th, the trailer that came out on the 25th, I don't care for it. I just don't care. I'll buy the next Sonic Screwdriver toy because a Sonic Screwdriver toy is always going to be fun. I mean, let's be real. But yeah, I haven't paid attention to the show since um, what's her name, Jodie Whittaker. That's it. I never tuned in for Jodie Whittaker episodes. I have watched some on BBC iPlayer, but I never actually bothered to tune in for any of the episodes on TV. Not because of Jodie Whittaker herself. She's done the best. She done the best that she can with the material she was provided with. Chibnall is the main reason why the show is bloody awful. And, you know, need I really say anything else? Everyone has said everything that can be about Chibnall, so yeah. Just really hoping, now that he's gone, and again, Russell T Davies is back in the driving seat, it's going to be interesting to see what the show does going forward. This sort of, like, 4 or 5 specials that are going to be doing with Tennant, I don't care for them because the era of David Tennant has already come and gone. If you like those, if those episodes come out and they're good, cool. I mean, we got some more good episodes. But if people start going, oh, I want David Tennant back after he regenerates into the new Doctor's name, I get, yeah, I see it. His name typed in chat, James. I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce that, but if his Doctor gets regenerated into, and people start going, no, I want David Tennant back. It's like, oh, for God's sake, really? It's gonna be a mess. Doesn't matter what it is. Everything is going to be a mess after the 60th anniversary specials are done. Three Tennant specials in November. Then Gatsworth starts the Christmas special. Well, like I said, it's got to a point where I no longer care because it's just such a mess, and I hate it. What is the new Sonic Screwdriver though? Because, like I said, I'll buy the new Sonic Screwdriver toy because it was really cool. All my other Sonic Screwdriver toys are like back there or something in storage. I remember when I did my Sonic Screwdriver toy review videos. Some of them did pretty good, but sadly, when I decided to clean up the channel, I had to set all of the screwdriver reviews to private because the channel doesn't really focus on a lot of Doctor Who stuff. It was nice to do a toy review, but yeah, some things you just gotta accept. Can't really find it. That's all right. We'll look at it later. And Josh, I saw you arrive. Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. Very good to see you. And there's a whole conversation about DHL delivery service. I mean, if they do ship tomorrow, cool. Like, next to nothing will be open tomorrow or operating. So if you do get something tomorrow, buy them, then cool, fair enough. Speaking, that reminds me, I remember it was New Year's last year. So, well, no, it was New Year's this year because it's still 2022. So January 1st, 2022. I thought, okay, Lego shop's gonna be open, a bunch of new sets are gonna be there. Let's go, because why not? And I was ready to go, and I was there in the morning, lining up outside the shop before 10 o'clock, and I only realized about 15 minutes into the journey. Like, I got to like a 5 minute walk to a bus stop, waited another 10-15 minutes, finally realized, oh, there are no buses today. I'm going to have to walk. Spent an hour walking into the city centre. Like, it must have been at least an hour. Got to the Lego. Well, I saw the line outside the Lego store. I thought, well, at least I'm here before it's opening. But before I jumped into the queue, I had to go off to find a loo because like the last 10 minutes I was really, when you're clenching your ass cheeks trying not to do it on yourself. It's like, oh god, it was a really really horrible trip. There was no buses. I had to walk in. I was trying not to lose it in my pants. It was like, oh, it was the worst. Had to walk all the way back home as well. Like, it was it was the worst thing ever because just because there were no buses that day, I wasn't able to get a lift from anyone. So I walked all the way into town, over an hour. It rained about halfway through the trip as well. I can't, remind myself of the rain here. I remember it raining. We have some of these electric scooters, and I thought, you know what, let me just use one of them. That would definitely save me a lot of time. But you have to get an app, and you got to pay for the app, and you got to do this. I was like, oh, this is too much hassle. Can't be bothered with that. So yeah, trying to get there and back on New Year's was the dumbest thing ever. I didn't know any of this beforehand. It was only on the day when all of this kind of came together and fell apart at the same time. It's a bit of a weird way to put it, but that's kind of how it happened. So yeah, there's going to be a number of people going to the Lego store again tomorrow, and the people who are going are people who can drive, because they are not going to be walking an hour into the city centre or to the Lego store, because that is just stupid. Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. I'm not going to really mess around with sets anymore either. I had to sell on a couple of sets because I had a couple of fund issues. The idea of buying these sets was to buy them, give it some time, wait for them to retire, and then see if the value would go up. But I haven't been able to wait that long because, again, a couple of fund issues occurred and I had to sell the sets on. So now I've got some money again, which is cool. But at the same time, I'm missing out on an opportunity to potentially make some money because the sets still haven't retired. Live and learn. What are you going to do? But besides, I do mock stuff anyways. Who cares about sets? That's basically everything in chat all caught up with. Speaking of Lego, I think we should show off a couple of things I've been making recently. So I was hoping for a bit of post today, and again, I got some post today, but it was a Bricklink order. I have ordered some custom prints of, so if you look at my channel logo at the moment, it's the Triton Lego Railway crest, so the black circle with the yellow text and the England flag in the middle. So I've ordered about 30 of them on 1x2 bricks to go on my coaches. Sadly, they haven't arrived yet, which is a bit of a shame because I love how the design ultimately turned out. And again, Royal Mail and all that. But if a Bricklink, I made the Bricklink order after the prints were shipped, and the Bricklink order showed up today. So now in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh my god, are the prints lost? Even if it's like, it's not going to show up tomorrow because of course it won't. It's New Year's. If it shows up on Monday, I can live with that. If it goes to Tuesday and onwards and it still hasn't showed up, I'm gonna be a bit worried. So again, it's only a couple of the bricks themselves are 1x2 bricks. You can fit that in an envelope. So if that's stuck in one of the Royal Mail distribution centres, then I'm in trouble. Okay, so this is a bit of a tangent question, but in the UK, is it feasible to just never learn how to drive? Well, first of all, I am learning how to drive. I will say that now. My driving test is in early February, so good luck to me. So you can go your whole life without learning to drive, not just in the UK, but anywhere. The only issue is getting around because you'll be relying on someone to go longer distances, or you'll have to figure out another way to get around. It's feasible technically. I mean, sure, but in turn, that's going to be one of the major things where you won't be able to do a lot by yourself. Not being able to drive around means you are going to be relying on people to do things. Like, for example, the Lego shows I've done. I can't drive, so I need my parents to drive me to the shows. So, with all the boxes I've got to take with me as well, that's not something we can just carry from one place to another easily. Like with a bike for it. I don't even have a bike, but with what I want to bring with me, it's got to go in a car. So I've got to borrow someone's, well, not so much borrow someone's car, but someone needs to dedicate the time to drop me off and so forth. So yeah, there is that. So yeah, I mean, again, feasible, yes, but not ideal. Try and don't do what I'm doing, where I'm currently 24 years old. I've gone years doing work, but without going through the process of learning to drive. Because at the time I thought I did need to drive, that's fine. But now I'm in this new position where I need to actually go out and about more. I need to learn to drive. So eventually you will reach this point where you do actually want to drive. So yeah, feasible, yes. Wise, no. That's the best way I can answer that question. After I painted the three items the second time, I accidentally dropped the lid and it rolled around the gold brick, but it didn't touch anything. Oh, don't drop the paint. I should get my license next year. Yes, you should get your license as soon as you can. It will be the best thing. Even if you don't get a car for like, let's say you get like, oh, let's just use me for example. My driving test again in February. Let's say I pass. I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually buy a car for a couple of months because there are other things I'm going to be prioritizing. Maybe I'll be able to afford a car soon, but even if the fact that you have your license straight away, that's the main thing. So just go for the license as quick as you can and worry about all the extra stuff that comes after it when you get to that point. Nah, probably not lost. In some bits of the UK, the postal service is hella slow of late. Exasperated by the postal strikes. Yes, postal strikes have been going for 2.5 months now. Not to keep it so political, because I have talked about this with a couple of people, but I've purposefully not mentioned this in public spaces like Discord or on YouTube. But just to get out of the way now, then, um, yes, there are postal strikes with Royal Mail here in the UK, and they've been going since October. There's way too much to say in conversation and in argument. The postal service is still going. Again, it's just hella slow, but it's really, really difficult to buy anything online because Royal Mail will be the go-to service to use. And again, they're a mess right now. So the fact that I've ordered these, well, the Bricklink order and the prints that I mentioned earlier, like I needed the print. Well, needed the prints. Ideally, I really wanted to get the prints as soon as I could. The Bricklink order was something that I knew was going to happen in its own time, but the fact that the Bricklink order showed up today and the prints still haven't, it's again just goes back into the fact that there's so much to talk about with Royal Mail at the moment because it's just, yeah, it's a mess. That's all you need to know. I'm hoping I'm not lagging because yeah, tablet's lagging. Oh, for God's sakes. There's notifications coming through and it's getting on my nerves. This is what happens when you have to use a tablet or a mobile device for streaming. No, it's yeah. I can see it on the stream as well. It's just, oh, that'll do. Yep, sure. We're back to normal. Yeah, having to use a mobile device for streaming is not the best. I still can't use my PC for it as well because my PC is now really rubbish compared to what's available today. Just can't afford a proper one. Yeah, it is what it is. Brick Toy Trains, Happy New Year, Luke from Australia. Yes, I saw a thing on YouTube on one of the news channels that is now officially 2023 in Australia. So Happy New Year to you lot down there. That means British Bricks and Seth Bricks are in the future. How cool is that? Now that I'm thinking about it, we don't get strikes here in Mexico. Well, lucky you. Well, again, I don't want. I'll say this for the sake of saying this, and we'll move straight on. The strikes that are going on with Royal Mail now, again, they've been going for 2.5 months since October, like early to mid October. The fact that they're still going on is abysmal. But yeah, this is the world we're living in now, so it is what it is. Stuff that should take a bit under a week to arrive, end up taking 2 weeks to land at the doorstep. Yes, exactly that. I remember when I would make Britlink orders, I would just basically count 5 days, and it will be here. Something took over 2 weeks to arrive, and I thought, yeah, this is getting bad. Right, time to show off Lego stuffs because we need to brighten up the mood. First of all, have a drink. There we go. Alrighty then. Let's start off with, and I'm and I'm already traumatized. I've got a couple of coaches I want to show you. I need to make sure I lie them down, not have them up on the wheels so they don't roll off. If you know, you know. So let me readjust the bed one sec. There we go. That's better. So I'll have that one there. Then these two over here. So let's have those. Yeah. Oop. Here we are. Sure, let's keep that there. Branch line coaches. No, not quite. I still haven't done that yet. I need to make Annie and Clarabelle one day. I need to actually make Annie and Clarabelle one day. So, yeah, we'll get to that eventually. I will also be catching up on chat in a moment, but I have built 3 more coaches for the Coronation Scots Express. I also need to change the name of the Express because it is no longer the LMS Coronation Scott. It has enough modifications and customization points to where it is now properly my own. So if you have any ideas for names for my Express, let me know in the chat because I would love to try and come up with a name for this. I think, what was there? Let me try and, before I show these coaches off, in the lore thing. Where did I, is it right at the bottom? Yes. Right, so the Express name idea I've got at the moment is Triton Palace. I like the idea of keeping the royal theme to the name. So, the Flying Dutchman. Keep it British, I say. No, so Triton, obviously Luke Triton, and Palace because I like the idea of something royal themed in the name. So Triton Palace is a name I've got at the moment. It needs to be normalized. I need to try and maybe make a headboard. That'd be make a headboard. Oh my god, I've got to do that. Okay, sorry, too many ideas. Anyways, I need to think of a good Express name to replace Coronation Scots because this is no longer the Coronation Scots. This is my proper custom Express. So if you have any ideas, let me know in chat. Just spam a couple of ideas. Well, not spam, but spam. You know what I mean. Get some names in the chat if you think of any. So something royal, but something relevant to me. Again, Triton Palace is the only name I've got at the moment. It doesn't have to necessarily include Triton or anything royal themed. It's just the only name I've got at the moment. So yeah, Fine Scotsman, a swimming Welshman. Well, I am in West Country, but any good names I see, I will have them noted down. We'll probably come to a good one later on in time. Luke unveils a large collection of Chuggington engines and says he's disassembling his Thomas crew. Chuggington. I think it was 2 weeks ago when I did the live stream with Glasgow Brick Subway where we looked up Chuggington characters. I think it was during then. And yeah, the Chuggington engines are, you know, it's yeah, we don't want to do that. Swimming Welshman still makes me laugh. Right, cars as in train cars or rolling stock. Well, first of all, wagons or coaches. Cars, I think, is more of an American term. So, like, train cars is what you would describe it as. But if someone says cars, the first thing I want to think of is a road vehicle. You know, you drive a car on the road. So, yeah, coaches is what I'm going to be referring to them as. Anyways, need to take a deep breath because I've just exhausted myself. Oh, too much talking though. Oh yeah, we're also 1 hour into the stream. Another hour to go. How lovely is that? So the first coach is something I saw someone on Twitter and YouTube called the Lego Railway Series do. He is a fellow Lego Thomas and Sodor builder, and for his Express, he's made Gordon and he's made the 6 coaches that go with the Express. But he has added 2 half coaches. Now these are, well, I did some research. Apparently, an Express half coach doesn't exist. But I like the idea of a half coach being in my Express, and the idea, pardon me, sorry, the idea being this is going to be at the very front of the Express, in front of the brake coach, to let any of the employees and the workers on the Express kind of go to, and that's for them. I don't actually know what a brake coach is for. Well, obviously it's to break the Express, but what does the internals actually look like? That's not something I've ever been able to see. Like, how much of that is for passenger use? Is a brake coach entirely for employees to make sure they can actually break the coach? I don't know. I've never been able to do that much research. But in terms of an employee only coach, something full length felt a bit unnecessary. So I went with a 6-wheeled half coach. Ta da! Yep, it's definitely a thing. Get that glare reflecting off the monitor there. So yeah, this is actually quite cool because it's so different. You got the full length express coaches, but this is something that's in there too. So you can see this gap here. That's where the Triton Lego Railway crest printed brick would be going. Again, I was hoping for that to show up today, but it's, you know, not here. So the locomotive tender will be here. The brake coach will be here. I've only got one door because I thought, you know, I feel like 2 doors will be unnecessary, so I've only got one door going on. Does the middle axle have horizontal motion? Yes, it does. I made sure that was definitely the thing to go with, because obviously this would not work on R40s. I still make sure to build everything to be compatible on R40 switches and curves, and this kind of doesn't, on the basis that this bit of overhang here is a bit much, because when connected to the tender, it's actually a bit weird. So I've had to grab an extra magnet to attach to these buffers here. And on R56s and upwards, I think it will be all right. I haven't been able to test it on anything else, but when I get the full layout together again on the wider curves, I think this will be pretty good. So yeah, that is the half coach. I can actually open up the roof. And that's one thing I don't like as well. There's a good amount of trimline tape being used on this model, and it's picking up a bit of fluff, and it catches on the edges of the tape, because obviously that's the most exposed sticky point. So inside, it looks, at the moment, like this. When I show you these next 2 coaches, these 2 have full proper interior decoration, and that's something I'm going to be working on next with the rest of my Express. So again, a couple of seats and as many railway themed employee minifigures I could find. So yeah, it's supposed to represent a space for railway employees who are working on the Express to just, you know, they can stay there, they can chill out, wait for shift changes, etc. Again, not something that's that prototypical, but the idea and the concept is there, so that's what this is supposed to represent. And of course, because, again, door on one side, nothing on the other, this is flat. You can see, there we go, nothing there. Because, again, the tender would be here. The locomotive I've got doesn't have a corridor tender. So on the back, it can connect to the other coaches, and in turn has a corridor gangway. So yeah, corridor on one side, flat on the other. And that's the basic overall gist of the coach. This is 20. Well, from main body to body, it's 24 studs long. From buffer to buffer, it's about 26 or so. So yeah, not bad for what it is. A small express coach. That's basically what this is. I still love the idea of having more Stevenson's rocket coaches built, just to see like 8 of them in a line being pulled by the Coronation Scott. That'd be a really cool thing to see. I do plan on making some more Stevenson's rocket coaches in the future. I think they're technically called London and no, it's Liverpool and Manchester coaches, like LMR. So yeah, I want to make some more of those in the future and potentially try and power. I don't think one of them would even work because I remember trying to do something with them power wise in the past, and I had to use 2 motor setups to push the coaches around. I don't know if it was because I think that maybe it was heavy. Again, this was a while ago, so I can't remember. But I think it is going to be difficult to try and power them. But still, just at least a long line of them would be really cool to see. So that is the half coach. Before we move on, let's have a look at chat. What are real Royal Stripes? Mm, Royal Scotsman. I don't want. I don't know. The idea of Scots or something um, location based is not quite what I would probably go for in terms of a new name. There's definitely some good ideas though. Royal Stripes, nah, that's not quite there. Maybe we need to ditch the royal aspect of the name. Maybe there is something more feasible to go there. What's the longest coach you have? It's, well, the Coronation ones. Soon to be renamed Coronation ones, which is basically one of these ones. So here is one of 2 new coaches, and you might see something missing over here. I'll get to that in just a moment. So the main body from end to end, not including the gangways, this is 46 studs long. Including the gangways and the well, basically buffer to buffer, it's 48 studs. But there is a weird thing going on where if you were to connect these coaches together, there's an extra stud space kind of between the coaches. So in a way, it's like 49 in a weird way. But the main body itself is 46, including the gangways or buffer to buffer, it's 48. They should be longer because there are other coaches I've seen go to about, you know, like 56 or so studs, like up to 60 studs, 62 studs, I think. One of the clubmates was showing off a night or two ago. And that looked so much better because, the amount of windows was realistic. It just looked, the fact it was just longer, came out to like there instead, just looked better. But the fact that I've made the box to store these coaches in cements these coaches to stay at that length. And that's a good thing because that means I can get more coaches into this express. Like I can have this 13 coach express, but have it take up less space if these coaches were another dozen or so studs longer. I saw somebody make a James. Yes, James, you've got the right idea there. Brick Toy Trains also says, it doesn't look right. A modern style carriage with 6 wheels and buffers. Yeah, it's definitely a funky thing to do. You can thank the Lego Railway series for that. He's done it as well, because again, the idea comes from him mainly, and he's really done a good job with his version. So yes, this is coach 1 of 2, and on the other side, it looks like this. Massive gap where there's no windows there. Why is that the case? Thank you for asking. Because if I take the roof off, carefully, because this thing doesn't sit down properly for whatever reason. There we go. Inside, it's full of life. Look at that. So, the idea of these 2 coaches comes from the Rexall $1 Million train. The train set I nearly built instead of the Santa Fe Blue Goose, where there was I don't know if it was a twin articulated set, but there was a pair of coaches where, or at least there was one coach that was a dance floor, and another coach that acted as a bar. Maybe it was the same coach. I can't remember, but the dance floor coach also acted as a sort of presentation hall. But given the nature of the Rexel $1 Million Train, that made sense. But I thought, that's such a cool idea. And I really wanted to try a twin articulated coach set. So I do have the Jacobs Bogey here. There we are. So that sits in. Oh, it's a bit difficult to figure out. That one? That one. There we go. Oh, yeah. It's the tiles cover up the hole inside, so a bit of guesswork. But that's how it would sit on this coach, and of course the other coach I have with me would sit on the other end. So that's one side, and of course if I were to turn this around, oh, hang on, so that one there. That's how it would look on this side. Using a good amount of small windows this time because these are custom coaches after all, so I may as well design them how I want. Ooh. Hang on. Okay. Hello? Are we good? Sorry, my tablet had a bit of a freak out moment there. We are live, we're back. Right, okay. Where were we? So, in this coach, you can see that there is a massive wall here with no windows. That's because against that wall is the bar. Why would there be any windows behind him? That doesn't make any sense. He's got shelving and other things going on there. So if I try and get this closer, it's a very fuzzy camera, so this might not be the best thing ever. You can see there, obviously you've got a shelf full of drinks, you've got a coffee machine to help sober people up, plenty of space, you've got the cash register there, some people waiting in line, and plenty of seating and people walking past to get their drinks, and I think that looks pretty good. Again, the seating and some of the interior details look quite simple. I've never had to do interior design for coaches before. I kind of just kept it always basic for the sake of saving parts and a bit of weight as well. But at the same time, I had to go all in with this. And I'm also using white tiles for the floor. I'm going to be using white tiles for the floor of all of my coaches, mainly because white tiles are the easiest thing I have access to at the moment. The pick a brick wall at my local Lego store should still have some white tiles in stock. So when I go there in the next few days, I should be able to pick up a cup of, pardon me, sorry, we stopped counting because that's way too regular. Anyways, yeah, so white tiles basically, they are the ones that are easily accessible at the moment. I don't have to spend so much money on Bricklink to pay for more tiles. I was thinking about using brown, but I thought, nah, that's gonna look a bit bad. Black will just look stupid. Other colors might not work. So, besides, it looks very posh and clean with the white tiles. So I actually really like that. So so this is the bar coach. I'm gonna set that down here. Going into the other coach, taking off the roof. Again, trying to be careful because the roof for these two coaches, again, is really stupidly done. It's just Lego bricks like bowing and not going together well. This is the dance floor coach that I mentioned a moment ago. So the reason why these two are twin articulated is because these two coaches would always be together. And it's literally just an open floor, loads of people having a grand old time. We have some lights on the wall, non-functioning of course, because I'm not going to mess around with LED lights on this thing. There's 4 on each side, and let's just I found a small pick-a-brick cup full of minifigures. Specifically, these are the figures that came with the Metroliner sets, and because I bought about 5 of them, I've got a lot of these figs all just to hand. So I thought that's an excellent way of me filling up these coaches and giving them some life in time for the stream. So let's do that. So that was a really cool morning, trying to make sure I don't replicate the same figures in the same little grouping twice. But yeah, again, it's a really, again, disco carriage. Yeah, well, it's a very cool thing. It's a really weird thing as well. Again, this is the point that I want to make. It was, of course, this isn't prototypical with normal express services. It was, everything had seats, everything was so professional. But the reason why this is a thing is because of the Rexall $1 million train. You can go on YouTube, look up. There was a couple of videos of one particular video where I liked a lot that went over the Rexall $1 million train, and it showed footage of just a full open coach, literally being a party room. It wasn't, it wasn't like a rave, or it was, there was, women wearing dresses, gentlemen wearing suits and ties. They had brandy and wine. Well, not so much slow dancing, but it was calm. It was not crazy, but the idea is still a really cool one. And yes, a lot of you seem to be very amused with the disco carriage. It would be the perfect opportunity to use a small Bluetooth speaker. Well, is there anything tiny enough that would fit into this? I mean, I've got a lot of minifigures in there, so I don't know if there would actually be enough space for that. Come on, do the locomotion in suits and dresses. Is that supposed to be the dance? There's a dance called the locomotion. Yeah. But yeah, white is a cool choice. Yeah, white tiles definitely seems to be the very best option because, again, it just looks really clean. So there is another thing about these coaches as well. I have decided to streamline the undercarriage. So you can see along here, I'm using a bunch of the 1x2 cheese slopes and some tiles to effectively give it a streamlined look. Now, this wasn't prototypical on LMS coaches, but it was prototypical on LNER coaches. The Silver Jubilee and the LNER's Coronation Express both had coaches with streamlined undercarriages. And I've had the idea to try and do that to my coaches for a while, but never went ahead with it. It's just, it's a thing I can do one day. But when I was making these, so I thought that's a good opportunity for me to try this. And I mean, it works. It looks really good. It's not that complicated. I just need to get a load more parts for it to actually function. And that's the only real issue is these 1x2 black slope pieces. I'm going to be going through quite a few of them per coach. So I'm going to have to order about 250 or so, maybe even 300 to make sure I have a few left over afterwards to go through all of the coaches, which is going to be, a bit of a struggle. But all the same, I am really happy with how these coaches turned out. Now I've got to get the bloody roofs back on. This is what I mean. So it's connected there. Trying to press it down is a bit weird because it doesn't want to actually go down. Got to try and bend this other end and then kind of squish it all together, and it's really weird and, yeah, a bit annoying doing it that way. That's all good. So yeah, what do you think about the bar and the dance floor coaches? Honestly, this interior looks so good. I'm so happy with this. Again, it's simple to a lot of people. Like, the chairs are very, very simple, but for what this looks like, I'm so pleased with how this turned out. I don't think I'll do too much to modify this or upgrade it in the future, but it's there, it's done, it's really cool. Yeah, and none of the coaches fell on the floor. Hooray! No crying today. Cool. Right, let me put them back over there. Okay. So I just make sure I didn't miss anything. Right. Where are we now? So everybody seems to be very amused with them. That's cool. It's realistic. Australia had a gauge train that ran from Melbourne to Sydney with a disco carriage. Okay. Interesting service, but sure. Again, the Rexall $1 million train had one. That's why I went with the idea of making one in the first place. It is technically realistic. So that's really cool. Right, so that's all of the LEGO stuff I have to show off. there is a few more things I can show off. I'll just get myself comfortable back on the bed. There we go. Right. Oh yeah, that's another Lego thing I can show off. A recent acquisition. There we go, interrupting with another burp. Is a big bag of black parts. In fact, I have 8 of these, and these were £2 each. So those are not Lego brand bricks. These are Wilco blocks, and these, again, crazy cheap, but they are fully compatible with Lego. The reason why we have these is, well, I was able to get these rather, is because it was kind of just extra stock that the store had, and it didn't sell. So it was yesterday when they put them on the shelf, I went in and saw them. I thought I need to grab all of them. So again, 8 bags for like £2 each. Excellent stuff. And the reason why I bought these is because of a project I want to revive. So if you look about here, you can see the red wing of Deathwing, my dragon project I started about 1.5 years ago, which is like crazy long ago. With the layout and train stuff kind of slowing down, I do want to try and get on with that again. I do like the idea of trying to finish that instead of focusing on anything railway related. It would definitely be good to get on with that in the meantime of other railway related things kind of being on hold. So again, I went with this because first of all, that's loads of parts in one bag, and I've got 8 bags. So that's loads of parts ready to go. And these are mainly going to be filler part, at least in my mind. I kind of picture these as filler parts. So if I need another couple of 2x4s, like 2x4 bricks, if I need another couple of plates or whatever else, there's going to be a decent amount in these bags. So this should save me a lot of hassle trying to get Lego branded bricks online. So yeah, I am going to have to look at getting more specific detail pieces as well. I remember getting a bunch of tooth pieces. Pardon me, that must be 10 at this point. Oh my lord, I do apologise. At least it's not a broken nose, you know, or a stuffed nose, broken nose, that's even worse. A stuffed nose is what I meant to say. What were we talking about? Bags, Lego, yes. Lots of pieces, very good, very convenient, very cheap. That's why I got these. Right. On the floor you go, because I've had enough of that. When you're going to get a bigger attic? We're not going to. We will get a bigger attic when we get rid of a bunch of stuff, which is never going to happen. That's not the issue though, because, you know, one day I do want to try and move out, as I've mentioned countless times. That's when things are going to really kick in. So yeah. Right then. More things to show off. And this time we're going back to Nerf, because everybody here loves Nerf, don't they? Yeah. Because I'm a Nerf YouTuber as well. That's alright though. It's still very cool to talk about these. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't going to do this originally, but I thought, I'm doing the stream, let's do it now, because why not? So, Strife is the best. It's definitely one of the best. Not my personal favourite, though. Obviously, my personal favourite is the Regulator. So then, story time. In mid-December, actually no, it goes a little bit further back. It was, what, November or so? It was a video that Wallcom uploaded to his YouTube channel. And it was on a pair of, well, not Nerf brand lads, but a couple of that's Niagara, you have to go. Oh, thank you very much for tuning in for as long as you have. Hope to see you again soon. So welcome to the video in either late October or early November of a couple of blasters from a company called Laramie. And these were blasters that were made in promotion of the Small Soldiers movie. So these blasters in particular are crazy rare and crazy expensive. Kind of desirable because of what they are, but it was something that I looked at and I thought, well, Wallcom's videos do, well, Welcome does these videos where he'll do these episodes on old blasters. Not so much tag back, but it's the sense of he'll just do a video on something crazy rare and expensive, and it's a really good way of introducing people in the hobby to these blasters that would otherwise they would never know existed. And it's insane because it was about about mid-December. I don't remember which day, but it was about mid-December. I go onto eBay. I think this time let's just go on eBay. Let's just have a look at what Nerf stuff people are selling. And I have this had this one store. Do I still have it saved? Yeah, I do. Fair enough. So this one eBay store I have saved as a tab on my computer. I've bought a number of things from him. Most of the stuff I bought from him are Nerf things, and I trust him wholeheartedly. If he says something's in good condition, it's in good condition and it works. And I go through the Nerf thing on eBay and I go to his store and I'm scrolling down and I just happen to see the SuperTech 9000 and the SuperTech 500, those rare blasters that Welcome did a video on his store. And I'm thinking, is that what I think it is? Is it really what I'm thinking of? Is it really those rare blasters? I go onto Discord into a couple of Nerf servers and I say, I got a screenshot saying, is it really these blasters? And they go, yes, that's them. So I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got to bid for these. Okay, hello, very good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in. So it was so bizarre because I rewatched the video, then went on eBay and saw these blasters. So what happened was the blasters they had their own listing each, starting off like for £1 each, and as time goes on, you don't start off with let's say these blasters, like he wanted to get £50 for each of them. You don't start the auction at £50. You start at next to nothing. I let the bids go up to that point of the desired price. Sorry. Again, you should get it. Anybody who's new to the streams, you should be used to this by now. Anyways, so when I found those listings, they had 4 and a bit days left on the listing on the auctions, and I noticed that the auctions ended whilst I was at work. So I thought, oh god, I may as well try and go for these because these are really cool blasters. It's an amazing piece of history. Even if I don't have a dart to fire them from, at least I've got them and they will be safe. So I placed my maximum bid straight away. I think, okay, Wolcom said that these could go for 150 or so pounds each, or at least for the 9,000, maybe even £200 depending on who's selling it. And yeah, it's really it's one of those weird things. I've never gone into anything like this before, but I needed to at least bid for them. So the few days go by and the auction comes to an end, and I'm at work. I'm constantly checking my phone, hoping to see that email notification to say, congratulations, you've won, or we're sorry, but you lost. And amazingly, I won the auctions, and I was the only person who was properly bidding for them. And I think that was because I was the only person who recognized what they were. So those blasters are the Small Soldiers SuperTech 9000. That's what this is, the big one. A very cool blaster. This is an air tank, front load, single dart action. This is the pump, and it's, again, for what it is, it's actually quite cool. Definitely looks cool. I'll get into that in a moment, actually. No doubt you can hear the ruddy bike outside. I do apologize. And the other blaster was the pistol version, which is the Small Soldiers SuperTech 500. I still don't know what it is with this area. It's very compact and built up, and yet people still race down these roads. It's so stupid. So yeah, these two blasters, I was able to get them for next to nothing. But I won this one for £20 and this one for 10. That's steal of the century, and they're both in good condition. I just don't have the appropriate darts to actually fire this from. Now you could, and it is possible to modify these blasters to fire something modern, but I kind of don't want to do that. I don't want to touch the blasters and potentially ruin them for that. So I'd rather try and modify. Well, I have tried to modify a couple of darts, an ultra dart and a mega dart. I have played around with to try and squeeze down the barrel to actually fire. Nothing has really worked, but I think I'm still ultimately okay with that because these are pieces of history. The fact I was so happy again, I won the auction for next to nothing. It showed up a couple of days before Christmas, like insanely. I don't know how the postal. Well, it wasn't Royal Mail that was posting it. It was Parcel Force, which is why it got here quickly. But the fact that it actually showed up before Christmas, I thought was actually really cool. So yeah, I now have basically a super rare piece of Nerf blasting history. Not a Nerf brand blaster. Again, the company is Laramie, but I'm so happy with this. TFN1 Studios, hello, thank you very much for tuning in. So yeah, that's a couple of things I want to show off. These are very cool blasters. I will be doing a video on these two blasters. I'll be doing it as a group review. Again, front dart, or you put the dart in the front barrel and you kind of push it down to about, I don't know, somewhere between past the orange section. It's a bit difficult to kind of see down there. You can kind of see how it works, but it's weird where the dart that this fires is its own caliber of dart. And I am never ever going to be able to find one or get a hold of the darts for this blaster. So that's a bit of a shame. But it's a pump action single shot air tank blaster. So this is the pump here. You pump that a couple of times, and well, I don't know if you can hear, but oh, it's not the best thing ever. Again, I've tried to modify a couple of darts to get this to fire, but nothing has really worked. But yeah, it's still cool to have. I just love the fact that I've actually got these. Yes, RK, I saw your comment about train stuff. We did do a lot of train stuff. I've got about 25 minutes left of the stream. I'm going to be showing off a couple of Nerf things. If time permits, I will show you the Lego train stuff that I showed off earlier because there are a couple of coaches and they are very cool indeed. So yeah, just a pair of amazing blasters. I got them for super cheap and it's just really cool to see. Just to have these in person is insane because again, I'm such a stock class nerfer, and this is something I would never really think to want to go for, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. It was just so perfect. So that's those two. Next, oh, I thought I was falling over for a second. Let's talk about these ones next. Sure. So something I saw a couple of weeks ago was a new Elite 2.0 pack, like blaster packs. I thought, oh great, these are never good. But they decided to pair up the infamous Warden with the Spectre. So this is a blaster 2-pack I was able to get for £30. The Spectre is a reliably, well, good blaster. I mean, it's not bad, but it ain't good either. The attachments in particular are really fun. Like, one of the best barrel attachments ever because, it's really cool. And the ever-hated folding stock. But the main reason why I went for this is for two reasons. First of all, I don't think I've got a Spectre. I at least had one, but modified it for parts. And of course, the attachments that come with it are good because these are in Elite 2.0 colors. So I could do more Elite 2.0 themed combos in the future. But more so, it comes with a Warden. In mid-2020, when Elite 2.0 first came out, the Warden was, like, it took everything as the worst Nerf blaster ever. They broke so easily, and nobody touched these with a barge pole. But with this new release, I learned that the Warden has since had a modification to the manufacturing process. So it's more sturdy and more rigid and much less likely to break. I'm still a bit concerned in case I pump this too hard or something and it causes it to break. I would like to open this up in the future after I do the video, because the fact that I can actually get this open would definitely help in case something breaks. So, again, the Warden has a very singular history. It's all negative, but this was, the fact that it came as a kind of double pack, this was a good enough opportunity and excuse as well to get a Warden solely for the sake of doing a video. I mean, I've fired it and I've used it a couple of times, and it's not broken on me, so that's a good thing so far. But oh man, this is blaster, folks. It's oh, it ain't good. Mm-mm. I want to try 3D printing a blaster one day. It's definitely something a lot of people have been doing. A 3D the 3D printed blaster community, so to say, is getting bigger every year. Like 2022 in particular was insane for it. There were so many custom printed blasters. One guy called Domachevsky, who I bought the Belts Fed magazine from, something I haven't used in a while. I probably should do sometime soon. He made a 3D printed blaster with a double stacked magazine that takes shells. That is a 3D printed blaster, but it's insane. It's so good. I was able to hold and fire one at Foam Fest, and yeah, if that's the way 3D printed blasters are going, this hobby is going to be very, very cool because people could commission a blaster that's exact to their liking. So yeah, that's cool. Anyways, that's those two. I'm going to put those over there. Let me fold the stock because that would help with keeping it a bit more compact. Speaking of stocks, I finally have this one. This is like the one modulus attachment that eluded me for the longest time. It's a simple storage stock, but the bulky shape of it is really cool. It's an adjustable stock as well. But yeah, it's just an attachment I now finally have, which is really good. And finally, this was my main Christmas present. The Ultra Select. Check this out. So this is amazing because, well, I bought the blaster to then give to my parents to give to me as a Christmas present. And this is one of those blasters that was sold originally for about £60. But I saw this, like, there's a number of places that had this on sale for only £20. So in my mind, I thought, this actually looks like a good blaster. It's got some good reviews. So if I see this for that, you know, if it's someone, or if there's somewhere that's selling this for only £20, sure, I'll go and grab one. But I was never able to find one until early in December, where I saw it, bought it, and kind of had to give it to my parents again to give to me as a Christmas present. But it's magazine fed. It is a flywheel blaster, and I feel like the flywheels, they're definitely more aggressive and louder in this blaster than I've heard in any other blaster. This has fresh batteries, which is really cool. Again, I'll save all the details for the review. This has 2 magazines. This is the funky thing about the Select, because the magazine port, as you can see here, that's like an instant reload. So for longer magazines, like 18 dart stick mags, this will be incredible for. So that would take up to nearly 40 rounds for magazines. But in terms of an Ultra Blaster, this is, you know, it's good for what it is. It's a good concept. It does work. I would love to see this sort of system in a proper foam dart blaster. You know, something that fires elite darts, basically. And yeah, that's going to be a really cool thing to see. It's definitely got a good bit of chunk. The stock is naturally tiny, but, you know, it's so cool. I've had a bit of fun with this. I am kind of saving a lot of this for the review and after I do the review video. But yeah, this was my main gift for Christmas, and it's really cool. Just the legs. I think my favorite thing about the Ultra Blaster is the fact that they have a white paint scheme. Because Modulus was my favorite line that Nerf made, all about attachments, the main color they used for them was white. So, ta-ta, don't fall over. Right, I'll have to put you over here then. I don't... If that falls over, that's going to make a loud noise, and I do not want that. So yeah, Ultra is really cool when it comes to customizing because I have a lot of Modulus attachments, and that definitely works with that. RK, if you're still here, brace yourself. I'll show you the coaches that I showed off earlier, so you won't have missed out anything. Geez, man, how many Nerf guns have you got in total? And how many hands have you got to use? How many hands you got to use them all? Well, I've only got 2 hands still. They are very worn out with all of the work I've done with the blasters. I think I've got over 50. Maybe no more than 60, including blasters I've still got in boxes, which is like 3 or 4. But yeah, it's actually, my Nerf collection has really grown since mid-2019. We're pardon me again. I'm 3.5 years back into the hobby, and it's really great. It's actually really condensed as well, which is cool. But it's come a long way, and I really do like that. Put a modulus stock on the orange strife matches pretty nicely. The strife I've got is the blue one, the later one as well, the CQ10, which came out in 2019 or 2020, I think, like before Elite died, because it's got the later Elite Blue Tiger Stripe design. So yeah, I was never able to get a orange one. There was plenty of chances for me to be able to do so, but when I was getting back into the hobby, I thought, let me just go buy one of those orange ones because they'll be easy to get. They're all sold out now. Missed my opportunity. Yeah. RK, if you're here, sound off. That means, say hello in the chat just so I know where you're here. That way I can show you some of the Lego Train stuff that I mentioned earlier. You came here for Lego Train stuff, that's fair, but I don't want you missing out. I know there was a modular strife at some point, but it had a weird automatic shut-off. Yes, it did, and I'm actually quite glad I never went for one, because the modular strife was one of the many blasters that didn't come to the UK. So it was definitely possible for me to get it, but when I saw the reviews of that automatic shut-off, it was a bit of a turn-off because I wanted to be able to use the blaster functionally for a good amount of time, but if it was going to shut itself off and kind of deactivate itself after a while, then what would be the point? There were a couple of other blasters I wanted to get, talking of Modulus as well. The Modulus Long Strike was one of the blasters, again, never came to the UK, but I was willing to pay the money for to have it shipped over. So a couple of things going on there, There's so many other blasters that I would love to get my hands on, but because this is something I'm going to mention in the big Nerf video I'm going to do in time as well. The Nerf scene in the UK is so limited. So whenever we see stuff come out, we have to literally pray that it comes to the UK. I think the Ultra Speed has come to the UK. I think. Let's find out. Nerf Ultra Speed. Because there was another one that came out the same time as that, and it didn't. I think. Oh, maybe that one did as well. The Ultra Focus. Okay, some of them did come along. But there was definitely a period of time where so many blasters that were produced just didn't come over here. And it was really annoying because, I want to let me give you money. Just bring it over here for goodness sakes. But yeah, it was just a bit frustrating to have to figure out a way to get it over here, at least swiftly. The Scavenger, I think, was okay. Like, I remember the Zombie Strike Scavenger. I think that was one of the blasters I bought on Amazon, like right before Amazon delisted it. It was definitely the same case for the Modulus Ultimate kit that came with the Modulus Demolisher. Well, it came online in a UK store, and I thought, right, get it now, otherwise I'm never going to be able to see it again. So I got them. The only two blasters I bought outside of the UK were the not Alpha Strike, the Acu Strike Alpha Trooper, which I think is actually called the Acu Trooper. I was able to get it from a store in Germany and have it shipped over to the UK. And the Revoltinator, I think, was a similar case, the Zombie Strike Revoltinator. It was, like, again, given the nature of the blasters and my strong enough desire for them, there was the case of me going through the whole customs fee and whatever else to get it into the UK so I can have them. But it's definitely that annoying case of, I want these blasters, but it's not available in my country. That's what's so frustrating. But yeah, that's been natural at least with the Nerf brand for the longest time. We'll get half of what they make. Those dragon blasters that they made, the Dungeons and Dragons blasters? I wanted to get the big one, whatever. What was it called? The Nerf D&D. Blaster. What was the big one called? The Dragon Power blasters, basically. What one's this one called? The Ember Strike. A pump action 8-dart cylinder with the idea of painting this up to look more kind of sinister, and it looks really good. Never came to the UK, and given the price, it's not worth the money. It's not worth the hassle. Yeah, it's a bit sucky that. I was trying to find something again recently online, still couldn't find it though, when someone built a Connects chainsaw attachment for the Nerf blaster. Yeah, that's something I'm really frustrated with as well. There is a Nerf modulus attachment kit called the Close Quarters kit that comes with two, what Coop calls the suck bombs. It's like a small sponge and a little sort of U clip that attaches to a rail to hold them onto, and a bayonet. That's a cool attachment, but I can't get one because no one is selling them anymore. I think you can buy them from American eBay, but again, the price is just not worth it. But the Zombie Strike chainsaw attachment, I remember seeing that in Toys R Us. Didn't go for it because it was at that period of time where I stepped out of the Nerf hobby. Such a shame. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to end the stream here because I can feel my stomach turning upside down. I'm starting to need to use the loo. So, 2 hour stream. That was pretty good. We got a lot done for 2 hours, you know. Do you know of the Captain Slug caliber and blaster? Yes, I do. A lot of people talk about Captain Slug. He's got a lot of good custom blasters, but not my sort of thing. So, we have done a 2 hour stream today. That is pretty damn good. It was also pretty good to do one at a different time zone as well. So the time for me now is 4:50 p.m., like 10 to 5 in the evening, and yeah, we've had a good amount of people come in today, especially given the nature of the time. You know, it's New Year's Eve. I don't think anybody's going to be at work or anything. So you know, for everyone that came in and tuned in for as long as they did, thank you very much for doing so. This is still the experimental phase where I've said in the past where I want to try and do these live streams at a different time of day. So the fact that this was, well, this is ultimately successful. You know, I've done a live stream, there's enough people here, done quite a lot as well, talked about a lot of things, showed off a lot of things. This definitely encourages me to want to do live streams at this time of day in the future. Sometimes it'll be in the evenings, sometimes it'll be during the day as well, but we'll just have to see what happens as time goes on. Sent an eBay email notification for the search item. That's been my hack for eBay for a few finds. Yeah, fair enough. I don't use eBay enough to kind of use anything like that, but I'll keep that noted for the future. Right then, that will have to do for now. So, one last quick reminder. I have a series of Nerf Blaster videos on the way out. A couple of LEGO Train videos showcasing the coaches that I mentioned earlier in the stream, and of course the blasters that I showed off earlier as well. I'm going to be doing a couple of remastered combos videos, which is something I'm actually quite excited for. I've got some videos in mind for Triton LEGO Railway lore. Ooh, how good is that? I'm going to be redoing the Diesels of Doom from the Halloween stream. I have a couple more stories in mind as well, which I'm going to be writing out, and they will be kind of done in the style of an audiobook. I'm not going to bother with any kind of art pieces because, you know, that's not me. It's just something to listen to, which I think would be really cool. And at the moment, that's pretty much it. Layout stuff will happen when it happens. But yeah, in the meantime, I've got enough to keep me busy. So thank you ever so much, everyone, for tuning in for as long as you have. This is a near 2 hour stream, and it has been a lot of fun to do this. In the description, you will find links on my Discord server, my Instagram page, and Flickr page, where you can find a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and where you can chat with like-minded fans of Nerf blasters and LEGO trains, because that's what we're here for. More so LEGO trains, but every now and then, the Nerf stuff kind of picks back up, and that's always fun to talk about. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I shall see you all in the new year. Have a great new year, everyone, 2023. Hopefully that's where everything goes upwards, because at the moment, things have been a bit, meh, you know, not the best. Especially when it comes to real-world things, but, you know, as time goes on, things ultimately get better. So, thanks again, everyone. I shall see you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone.